Okay, ji, here we go with the important themes of the play. No exit और ये जो क्वेश्चन है ये भी एग्जामिनेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से बहुत ही ज़्यादा अहम है। एग्जामिनेशन में ये सवाल पहले भी मतलब जब वो पूछा जा सकता है कि व्हाट आर द जा चुका है कि व्हाट आर द इम्पोर्टेंट थीम्स ऑफ नो एक्सिट। तो नो एक्सिट जीन पॉल सार्टर एग्जामाइंस बेसिक थीम्स ऑफ एग्जिस्टेंशियलिज्म थ्रू थ्री कैरेक्टर्स के तीन कैरेक्टर्स जो हैं वो इस थीम को मतलब जो है वो एंगेज करते हैं। द फर्स्ट सब्जेक्ट Garson embraces existentialist ideas somewhat. The second character, Elise, seems to fully understand ideas you can say deemed existential. Or Estelle is the third person and does not seem to understand those ideas well. कि जो मतलब जो है वो उन ideas को सही तरह से नहीं understand कर पाई। Nor does she accept them well they are first presented. कि जब उसके सामने पेश किए जाते हैं तो वो जब वो सही तरह से उसको नहीं accept कर पाती। So one similarity amongst the three is that they all at some point seem to accept that they are in hell for reason कि वो कोई ना कोई वजह है जिसकी वजह से वो hell में है। So Garson admittedly is in hell because he was unkind and unfaithful to his wife कि वो अपनी बीवी के साथ वफादार नहीं था, वो unkind था, unfaithful था। That's why he was thrown to hell, उसको hell में फेंका। जी।
He, he, however, does not wish the had act differently, for he say, "I tell you, I regarded
I
nothing."
regret
In this
nothing.
respect of
He says, I tell you, मैं आपको कहता हूँ, I regret nothing कि मुझे किसी चीज के ऊपर मतलब जो है वो अफसोस नहीं है। So in this respect of acknowledge and you can say owning up to his actions, Garson is following existentialist laws. कि Garson जो है वो existentialist laws को follow कर रहा है। However, he sometimes violates them. कि वो उनको violate भी करता है। For example, he's so preoccupied with the idea that he's a coward that he demands the woman to renounce this कि वो औरत से अनीस से वो डिमांड करता है कि वो उसको छोड़ दे and declare his masculinity. He's so dependent upon this that he refuses to engage in sexual activity with Estelle कि वो स्टेले के साथ किसी किस्म की sexual activity के लिए तैयार नहीं था until she affirms him. This is until you can say anti-existentialism because according to its principles he should not have to rely on others for confidence. उसको दूसरों पर जाना ही नहीं चाहिए कि उसको एतमाद के लिए जो है वो दूसरों की जरूरत पड़े। ये आपके वीक और पर्सनालिटी की जो है वो निशानी होती है। जी।
ends,
एक सेकंड जी।
Ains is in hell because she had seduced her cousin's wife, then conspired to make his life miserable until he finally stepped in front of a tram and
ट्रैम
was killed in
बिल्कुल
a
तो वो जो है
tram.
वो फ्लोरेंस जो है वो बिल्कुल ट्रैम के सामने मतलब जो है वो जो है वो जाती है और वो जो है वो खत्म कर देती है। So he's also brought a lot of guilt upon her lover Florence until she finally committed suicide and killed Denise by poisoning them with gas during the night और उसको मतलब जो है वो मार देती है गैस खोल के और वो ओवन की गैस से वो मर जाती है। Denise does not refute I regret this as she stated, I was what some people down there called a damned bitch. कि मतलब मेरे हवाले से लोग यही कहते थे कि I'm a damn bitch. And you know, I don't regret a thing. She also states, I prefer to choose my hell. कि मैंने खुद अपनी जहन्नम जो है वो चूज की है। मुझे किसी ने जहन्नम में नहीं भेजा। वो मैं अपनी मर्जी से मतलब मेरे जो तमाम अमाल थे दुनिया के अंदर वो मुझे हेल में लाने की वजह बने हैं। So which advocates the principle that everyone has a free will और आपके एक्शन जो है वो जिम्मेदार हैं कि आप जो है वो जहन्नम में रहेंगे या हेवन में रहेंगे। जी।
Which she gives a good example of the concept that mankind has a free will and that few decisions are without any negative consequence when she say so now we have to pay the reckoning and people are damned for nothing. Ho- However, she violates the extensionist
एग्जिस्टेंशियलिस्ट
idea that
आइडिया दैट एवरीथिंग इज
idea
कोइंसिडेंटल
everything
कि वो हर चीज जो है वो कोइंसिडेंटल है। नथिंग हैपेंस जो है वो कोई भी चीज जो है वो किसी सिस्टम के साथ नहीं होती। नथिंग हैपेंस रियली नथिंग रियली हैपेंस फॉर अ पर्पस। Then she you can say persist in telling the others that they have been put पेयर टुगेदर फॉर अ पर्पस, कि उन लोगों को एक पर्पस के तहत कहाँ पे भेजा गया है। तो ये मोर और लेस जो है वो इस आइडिया को एक हद तक जो है वो एग्जिस्टेंशलिस्ट आइडिया को मतलब जो है वो मतलब जो वो डिस्कार्ड करती है, क्योंकि हम लोगों को जब यहाँ पे भेजा गया है, we do not have you can say a purpose, we are purposeless in this world, हमारा इस दुनिया में किसी किस्म का कोई पर्पस नहीं है जी।
An example of this when she say, "Mere chance, nothing was left to chance. This room was all set up for us." Stella perhaps had the hardest time coming to terms with her transgression and existentialist idea. She is in hell because she committed adultery,
अडल्ट्री,
from
उसने
which
मतलब जो है वो
adultery
अडल्ट्री की थी, उसने मतलब जो है वो धोखा दिया था, for which she birthed and killed her, you can say unwanted daughter, driving her lover to commit suicide himself. However, at some points she almost refuses to believe that she is in hell, like when she says that that's just it, I have a notion, not the foggiest. In fact, I'm wondering if there hasn't been some ghastly mistake, कि क्या कोई ये कोई गलती तो नहीं है कि हमें मतलब जो है वो इस तरह की हेल में जो है वो भेज दिया गया है। तो मोर और लेस ये एक तरह से मतलब जो वो एग्जिस्टेंशियलिज्म का कॉन्सेप्ट, जो एग्जिस्टेंशियलिज्म की थीम है, दैट्स रियली वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थीम इन दिस प्ले एज वेल जी।
she also has precaution with her looks and what people think of her. No, I can't do without a looking glass forever and ever.
आई
I
सिंपली
simply
कांट,
can't.
मैं
And
जिंदा
but
नहीं रह
I
सकती।
wish
और
it don't.
ये जो लिपिंग ग्लास है वो उसके लिए कौन बनता है, वो उसके लिए अनीस बनती है। एंड बट आई विश he would notice me too. The later statement is referring to Garson, whom she seeks for comfort and pleasure, but is ultimately rejected by. There is evidence, however, that she begins to understand existentialist concepts when she accepts her sentence to hell, and when she says, "It's mere chance that has brought us together." तो ये chance है जो हमें यहाँ ले आया है। All of the characters came to some belief in existentialist concept, whether they are deep or simpler. All of them also showed areas, you can say, where they are not in complete agreement with existentialism. कि वो जो है वो अपने एरियाज को दिखाते हैं, and they were not in complete agreement with existentialism. And he seemed to, you can say, have a strong belief in owning up to one's actions. कि वो मतलब जो है वो अपने एक्शंस के हवाले से जो है वो पूरी तरह से अपना उसका स्ट्रॉन्ग बिलीफ है, and not deceiving oneself, while Stelle was the complete opposite. Stelle जो थी वो बिल्कुल opposite थी, and Garson somewhere in the middle. Another major theme of the play is man's cruelty to his fellow man. इंसान की जो अपने fellow man के साथ cruelty है वो उसके हवाले से भी डील करता है, as exhibited in all three of the major characters, both on earth and in hell. कि ये मतलब जिस तरह से हेल और अर्थ के ऊपर मतलब जिस तरह से ये डिस्क्राइब किया जाता है। गार्सन was cruel to his wife. गार्सन जो था वो अपनी बीवी से क्रूअल था, constantly cheating on her, मुसलसल उसको चीट कर रहा था, even though she loved him dearly, बड़ी मोहब्बत करती थी, लेकिन in spite of that he was constantly cheating her. Stelle shows her cruelty by marrying an older woman, कि स्टेले जो है वो अपनी क्रुएलिटी दिखाती है, वो एक ओल्डर मैन से शादी करती है फॉर हिज मनी, एंड देन टेकिंग अ यंगर लवर, young lover, when she has his baby, she cruelly kills it by throwing it in a lake. And he is also characterized by cruelty, वो भी मतलब जब वो cruelty के साथ associated है as a lesbian. She used her female lovers for her own desire and purpose, controlling them and sucking them the life for them. और वो उनको कंट्रोल करती है और उनमें से तमाम लाइफ को जो है वो सक आउट करती है। तो in hell the three of them continue to be cruel to one another. ये एक दूसरे की hell बन जाते हैं। And his desire a relationship with Stelle, Anise की जो ख्वाहिश है वो उसका relationship है Stelle के साथ, but she rejects Anise and spits in her face. Stelle has a strong desire to Garson and constantly seduces him. तो अब ये मैंने आपको बताया था प्ले के दौरान भी, ये तीनों एक दूसरे के लिए ट्रायंगुलर लव के अंदर जो है वो एंगेज है। And he stands in the way by constantly watching the two of them. But she knows that Garson will never become intimate with her eyes upon him. So वो कभी भी उससे मोहब्बत नहीं कर पाएगा. Garson is also cruel. He toys with Stelle's emotions and tells her she should turn to Anise for solace. कि उसको अनीस की तरफ जाना चाहिए उसके सुकून के लिए. Anise is also cruel to Stelle, taunting her about her appearance. She tells her that her hair and lipstick are a mess, and that she has a pimple on her face. She also refuses to comfort Garson, but constantly reminds him that he is a coward, वो बुज़दिल है, judged by his actions. At the end of the play, Garson realizes that the way the people he can say treat one another is a reality. What hell is about. He accepts that for eternity he will torture Anis and Estelle and be tortured by them. वो उनको तकलीफ देगा और ये मतलब जो है वो उनसे तकलीफ पाएगा जी.
No exists another central theme is freedom and responsibility, which comes from Sartre
हाँ, यानी कि
doctrine
freedom and
that
responsibility.
existence
Free will कि आपके जो actions हैं, you are responsible for all your actions. You are responsible for all your words. अगर आपके जो actions हैं वो आपके साथ associated नहीं हैं, आप मतलब अपने actions को जब shift करेंगे दूसरे लोगों के ऊपर, तो आपको appropriate मतलब जो है वो नहीं कहा जा सकता. So more or less हम इस बात को observe करते हैं कि your actions play a vital role और आप उसको फिर own करना पड़ेगा. Existence precedes essence. Sartre believed that being up for itself differed from inanimate objects. A being in itself, since humans have the ability to choose and define their individual characteristics. वो अपने हवाले से अपने आप को बता सकते हैं. But this with this freedom of choice comes the absolute responsibility for one's actions. तो फिर आप हर अपने अमल के जिम्मेदार हैं. आपके अमल का कोई और बंदा जो है वो जिम्मेदार नहीं है. You are actually responsible for all your actions. आप जो भी कर रहे होंगे, you are responsible for all your things to do. जी.
The fear and anxiety of this responsibility leads many people to ignore both their freedom and the responsibility by letting other people make their choices for them, resulting in bad faith. This bad faith is what causes Garcin to be unable to leave the room when the door opens. He can't handle the responsibility of comforting his decision to flee his country
And thus
and thus
leaves it
leave
up
it.
to Elise to judge him and define his essence. कि वो बताए मतलब जब वो दरवाजा खोलता भी है. The anxiety of this responsibility leads many people to ignore both their freedom and their responsibility. और वो दूसरे लोगों को मतलब जो है वो अपने ऊपर तारी कर देते हैं और बैड फेथ इन्वॉल्व करते हैं. बैड फेथ यही है कि जब जो है वो आप जो है वो दूसरों की ओपिनियन चाहिए. बैड फेथ ये था कि जब गार्सन जो है वो दरवाजा खुलने के बावजूद कमरे से बाहर नहीं निकल पाता. He can handle the responsibility of confronting his decision to flee to his country. So more or less when Elise pretends to be her mirror, कि जब Elise जो है वो pretend करती है उसका mirror होने के लिए, he says Estelle has a pimple on her face. Estelle को जो है वो pimple है उसके चेहरे पर. Estelle's bad faith causes her to accept someone else literally. You can say creating her essence. तो Estelle जो bad faith है वो accept someone else कि वो you can say किसी और को मतलब जो है वो literally creating her essence कि वो जो है वो अपनी essence create करी. Both Estelle and Garcin are not only condemned to be free, but are willing to condemn themselves in order to avoid being free. This emphasis on bad faith establishes Sartre's underlying argument of the faith. Hell is the other people. Hell जो है वो आपके दूसरे लोग होते हैं. Using only you can say three people and an empty room, Sartre evokes a senses of utter torture and despair. जी.
Garden and Stanley refuse to let go of their past, uh, e- uh, each looking each looking at their friends and loved ones back on earth. They attempt to justify their existence by only thinking about their past experience. As a guardian explains, his faith is the evaluation of his past action by other people. Inez, however, see her past as meaningless and insensible,
Inaccessible.
choosing
कि वो
to exit
मतलब देखती है कि उसका
insensible.
past जो है वो meaningless और inaccessible है. Choosing to exist in the present instead. Anise is the only character in the play intent on confronting both her responsibility and her suffering. कि जो अपनी मतलब जो है वो अपनी responsibility पर भी वो contented है और अपनी sufferings के हवाले से भी she is fully contented. जी.
Through the character of Garcin and stylist Sartre, weaving the theme of the hypocrisy and falsehood throughout the play.
हाँ.
Garcin tries to pretend that he was a brave, kind, and noble man during life. In truth,
Kind था,
he
noble
cheated
था,
on his
brave
wife
man था.
and
In truth, he cheated on his wife and deserted the battle when the fighting became dangerous. उसने अपनी बीवी को मतलब जो है वो धोखा दिया
cheat
और
किया.
when the fighting came in a similar manner, Estelle tries to pretend that she was thoughtful, refined, and respectable. In truth, she's married a man three times her of age for his money and then took a young lover. तो ये भी मतलब झूठी और मकार है. लेकिन ये अनीस है pushing and you can say prodding that causes them to face the truth about themselves. कि वो अपने मुतालिक सच बोलें, झूठ ना बोलें और हेल के अंदर आके मतलब आप कोई अच्छा काम नहीं करके बुरा काम नहीं अच्छा काम नहीं करके है जिसकी वजह से आपको हेल मिली है. आप जरूर जिंदगी में बुरे रहे हैं, जिसकी वजह से आपको हेल में फेंका गया है। जी
Arthur is equally as evil as Guardian Stelle. Sartre is less critical of her. At least she is truthful about her past and states that she lived a damn existence on earth. As a lesbian, she admits that she sucked the life out of her female lovers. But even Inez has some hypocrisy in her.
हम्म,
She states that she will not miss Florence, her last or lover, when it is obvious
तो मिस
that she
फ्लोरेंस को
does.
मतलब जो है that lost her her last lover when it obvious that she does. She also says that her life was in order, which is quite questionable considering how she lived it. कि वो कैसे रही. It is Garson who, however, who suffers most from his hypocrisy. He wanted to be a brave man of principles. उसकी आंखों में वो बनना चाहता था, but in face of danger, he could not do it. He feels ashamed over his cowardice and hates that the people back on earth are, you can say, talking about his weakness कि दुनिया के अंदर जो लोग हैं वो उसकी weakness के हवाले से बातें कर रहे हैं, but in hell he still lies to himself. वो अपने आप से झूठ बोलता है and says he can be saved if only Elise will believe he was not a coward. तो ये दूसरों की नजरों में मतलब वो जी रहा था. Of course, since she is not basically a hypocrite, she will not lie to Carson like Estelle. She tells him he is a coward, judged by his actions. Carson does not listen to her and continue to believe that his, you can say, desertion was a single aberration in his personality.
जी माँ.
He is a he is still living a falsehood as he tries to convince himself he is a brave. कि जब वो मतलब जब वो अपने आप को कन्विंस करता है कि वो एक ब्रेव है. जी
As an existentialist, Sartre is very critical of hypocrisy. He feels that man has the freedom to become whatever he wants and is then defined by his choice. By denying one's existence,
तो ये
which
तीनों लोगों ने
hypocrisy
अपनी
does
चॉइस
the
के
person
मुताबिक जिंदगी जी और उसका नतीजा क्या निकला कि उनको ये अंजाम भुगतना पड़ा. By you can say denying one's existence, which hypocrisy does, a person damns himself, you can say, and lives a life of existential nothingness. कि आप जैसे एक बेजान चीज की सी जिंदगी गुजार रहे होंगे लेकिन आप जानदार नहीं होंगे. Life is absurd and has no meaning, as proven by Garson and Ease and Stanley. Given the opportunity to escape from hell, they do not leave, you can say, through the open door, for their life on earth was really no less hell than their existence in the underworld. ये मतलब hell से नीचे इस underworld में मतलब it's no less than hell. जी
The theme of vision, both sight and appearance, is apparent throughout the play. People see themselves not through their own eyes, but through the eyes of others.
हाँ कि वो ना
Therefore,
सिर्फ
their
अपनी आंखों में
essence is
देखे
not their
through the
own.
eyes of others. Therefore, their essence is not their own, but that of others. कि ये उनकी essence नहीं, but that of others, and they are painfully aware of how others see them. कि दूसरे उनको किस तरह से देखते हैं. तो consequently, appearances matter in life and are echoed in death. कि appearances जो हैं वो life में matter करती हैं और ये are echoed in death. So when the first character enters the room, he immediately judges its appearance as offensive to his eyes, and you can say dreads having to look at the surroundings even briefly, or ye खौफ खाता है having to look at the surroundings even briefly. Further, the valet who has brought him in does not seem to see Namali, and Garson notices something so beastly in the way he stares. कि वो जिस तरह से बोलता है, the stare is a result of the valet's having no eyelids, कि उसकी कोई eyelid नहीं है. And Garson realizes I'm to live without eyelids, कि अब मुझे eyelids के बगैर जीना होगा, यानी कि आंख भी झपक नहीं पाएगा. I shall never sleep again. The condition also implies he will never be able to shut his eyes to his offensive surroundings, कि जो कुछ उसके इर्द गिर्द होगा वो अपनी आंखें नहीं झपका सकेगा. तो यही वो सबसे बड़ी हेल है. एक जो आपकी नींद है वो आपके लिए एक बहुत बड़ा सुकून होता है, लेकिन यहाँ पर वो भी उसके पास कॉन्सेप्ट नहीं था. इट वाज टॉर्चर एंड कांस्टेंट टॉर्चर. जी
When the two women arrive, much of the talk is about seeing how Stella will exist without a mirror for validation of her existence and how they will have to depend on and judge each other. Inez tells Garcian she will force Stella to view him as sexually unattractive,
हाँ
thus
कि
depriving
वो
him of that.
सेक्सुअली अनअट्रैक्टिव जो है thus depriving him of that satisfaction and destroying their potential relationship. So you can say she will force Stella to view him कि वो sexually attractive ही नहीं है तो Stella therefore will see you through my eyes as Florence saw that other man. When Stella definitely rejects these advances, जो है Stella's strongest accusation is you haven't any eyes and refuses to see herself as an niece sees her. और वो वैसे नहीं देखना चाहती जिस तरह से मतलब जो है वो उसको दिखाना चाहती है तो वो अपना पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू जो है वो उस हवाले से
In life, people make choices that define themselves.
कि
One of
लोग
the
जो
cornerstones
choices
of
करते हैं ना
starters,
वही उनकी लाइफ को डिफाइन करती है जी
one of the cornerstones of starters' belief is a rejection of other people's judgments as determining the meaning of a person's life, consistent with his point that others' views, as in their look or gaze, will attempt to objectify a person according to their own needs, is the conviction anyone wishing to find essential meaning in existence and
हाँ
live by that discovery must make their own decisions without the
decision
judgment of
without the
others.
judgment
At
of
the end of the
others
play, Guardian
still looking to know himself वो अपनी शख्सियत के हवाले से वो अभी भी जानना चाहता है still looking to know about himself वो अपने आप के हवाले से अभी भी जानने को मतलब जो वो बेताब है वो अभी भी ये जानना चाहता है कि what his life is वो मतलब उसके हवाले से you can say has come to understand he cannot rely on other women to establish his true identity as either a coward or a hero. He comes to accept the idea that when I choose the hardest path, I made my choice deliberately. कि मैं अपना रास्ता खुद चुनता. A man is what he can say wills himself to be. Yet an ease does not allow him to you can say claim he could have accomplished more if he had you can say died young. One's whole life is complete with a line drawn neatly under it. You are your life and nothing else. तुम हो तुम्हारी जिंदगी और बाकी सारा माजरा खत्म. जी.
The famous line, hell is other people, is often thought to mean Sartre rejected the value of being with others and instead favored a solitary existence. But no exit is not about solitude. On the contrary, Sartre meant solitary with others to have a positive effect on society was possible and human contact was not hellish as long it was based on people being honest with themselves and defining their own positions with total openness.
हाँ कि
People
मतलब being
need not to
honest
be
with
alone.
themselves and defining their or you can say own position with you can say total openness. People need not to be alone or you can say on their own to validate existence. Rather they must confront the gaze and judgment of others to find a way to betterment. कि वो मतलब जो है वो बेहतर जिंदगी गुजार सकें. They must confront the gaze and judgment of others to find a better way. कि वो अपनी मतलब जो वो जिंदगी बेहतर कर सकें. Three characters in No Exit suffer deeply from the triangular relationship because as soon as one tries to connect with the other, the third character intrudes and insists on their own place. कि वो उनको कहता है कि वापस अपनी जगह पर जो है वो चले जाएं. अब इस तरह से the torture people with an old-fashioned view of the so-called afterlife would expect with the instrument of pain, horned devils is in fact replaced with the presence of others who themselves become the official torture. कि ये मतलब जो है वो official torture बनते हैं जो है वो एक दूसरे के लिए. Each character must choose to define the human relationship as an each states. I prefer to choose my hell. Each of us will act as the torture of the others too. तो बाकी जो है वो दो हम लोग जो है वो दूसरे के torture का जो है वो काम कर रहे होंगे. तो more or less ये जो concept है ये इस बात की तरफ जो है वो हमें लेकर जाता है कि किस तरह से मतलब जो इसके इम्पोर्टेंट थीम है मतलब अदर्स में किस तरह से आपने अपनी जिंदगी जो है वो जीनी है किस तरह से आपकी लाइफ जो है वो इंगेज होगी आपकी मतलब जो है वो अपनी पोजीशन इस दुनिया के अंदर क्या है और आप किस तरह से अपनी जिंदगी जो है वो बसर करते हैं ऑल दीज आइडियाज आर टिपिकली एंगेज्ड विद द कांसेप्ट ऑफ द प्ले तो मोर और लेस वी डू ऑब्जर्व ऑल दीज थिंग्स इन अ क्लियर कट नोशन कि किस तरह से चीजें जो है वो आपस में इंगेज होती हैं जी मोर और लेस ये क्वेश्चन जो है वो भी हमारा ऑलमोस्ट वाइंड अप हो चुका है